Good morning. What's going on? This is Stylist from the back room. We have this week with us such an amazing special guest. We've got D. Anthony Evans. He's going to be joining us all the way from Hawaii. So, D, thank you for joining us. John, as always, good morning, buddy. How
Eddie?
are you?
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So as we always kick things off, Eddie, how's your week been, buddy?
D is on with us. We're going to be motivated. I've been looking forward to this all week, so I'm pumped up. I've been having a good week.
And by the way, it's what time is it by you right now, D?
It is a ripe 6:37 a.m. I've been up since 1:30. Yeah, I'm like at noon in your world.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So there was this old Army commercial. It's my favorite commercial. I reference it a lot, very often. It's like, oh, I've ran 13 miles. I fueled the choppers. I washed the tank. I've had breakfast. I've done this. I've done that. It's 7 a.m. What have you done?
Yes, that's classic. I know. I remember growing up off that.
Remember that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Be all you can be, Eddie, before 6 a.m.
Right.
So D is going to give us a great story. We're going to get into D in a couple minutes, right after we do Eddie's weekly quiz. D's with us because D is one of the most inspiring guys I've ever met in my life. D changed my world about almost 6.5 years ago. We'll get into that story in a minute, but we got to get to Eddie's quiz. So I'm going to switch the screens up here a little bit.
Well, since D is with us, can I use him as a phone a friend?
Yeah, you can phone a friend. You can phone a friend. All right. So we're going to do this. So, Eddie, this is Mia Farrow. And this haircut is
sexy.
It is sexy. This is just a little hair history for you, Eddie. This is the pixie cut that Vidal Sassoon that did on her for Rosemary's Baby. And this is the haircut that actually put Vidal Sassoon on the map.
This haircut changed everything in the beauty industry. It was the first time it was publicly shown in a media capacity that short hair is powerful. You got to think about the times. Every woman had long flowing hair. That's what was considered feminine. So to be able to do this haircut and have the movie be a success, have her whole career be a success, and have thousands and thousands and thousands of women go out and cut their hair afterwards and rock this style. It really was an empowering moment. It was such a motivational and empowering moment in society. Forget about just in individual, well, also in individual women's lives. But as a society, it was such an empowering moment and movement. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And it really did put Sassoon on the map.
It did. This is what started wash and wear hair. So our next picture, I'm getting all technical on you guys now.
I'm learning.
Oh, this is Rocky IV. This is Ivan Drago's wife.
Oh, no. This is Grace Slick wearing a flat top. She was married to Dolph Lundgren. If you want to get into the pop culture of things.
Wait, wasn't she in Rocky?
No. You're thinking of Brigitte Nielsen.
And she was a different color, brother. They had the same haircut, but she was a little lighter tint. Brigitte had a lighter tint on her.
Wait. Then what movie was she in?
She was in A View to Kill. She was in the Bond movie.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She was in Boomerang. That's Strong J.
There we go.
There you go. Right there.
There we go.
Right there.
But look, just speaking to the powerful lines of this haircut, and the true artistry that went into having a hairdresser look at her face shape and her head shape and everything and go, oh yeah, we're doing this. And look how tight that is. That's a tight haircut, man.
Yeah.
That is super tight. And she's
It
such
is super cool.
Yeah.
This haircut is still viable through
Sure.
today.
Yeah.
To today. The most extreme version of this haircut was which it was Kid and Play. Which one of Kid and Play had it?
Oh, with the eraser head, where these call
Yeah. Remember that?
Yeah,
That thing was
yeah.
like 3 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Cameo.
Yeah.
Cameo. I think Cameo predates Kid and Play.
Yeah.
True.
Like
Yeah.
Candy. Ow. That might have predated Kid and Play.
That's awesome. Now we got Victoria Beckham.
Oh gosh.
What haircut is this, brother?
It's the Beckham cut. It does not. It no longer has a name, technical name. It is just the stupid posh spice cut or the Beckham cut.
Well, it's a
followed by the most bleaching of holy hell double processing that we had to do in the freaking 90s and the early 2000s. Between this Beckham cut, between the Jennifer Aniston hair color and the J-Lo haircut, and the Jennifer Aniston haircut as well too, between these three women, the money I made just from repeatedly doing these three damn style over and over and over, I legit bought an Audi, however you pronounce that car. I bought an A6. That's how much money I made doing these three freaking looks.
Yeah, and this is and I mean, and to break this down, this is really just the diagonal forward bob.
Out of the three, this is my favorite cut.
Yeah,
it's still to this day my all-time favorite haircut.
Oh yeah, if I have to cut a freaking Rachel again, I'll lose my mind.
Forget the Rachel, man. I'm so over it.
Let me chime in just really quickly. What's insane is that my better half started. She was a hockey player, so she started with the kind of the boxy, real short, and then evolved into the bob. But how you got both haircuts? Like, this is really getting creepy. Have you been like? I mean, you know, this is relative to my life. Like,
That's awesome. That's awesome. Does she know you're talking about her right now?
No,
she gonna know.
But I told you what'll be happening to me. You know, when she finds out.
All right.
Ooh,
Ziggy Stardust. This is the
Labyrinth.
This is David Bowie in the 70s. With a first generation mullet, right?
Yeah.
Check that out.
Wow.
I mean, he was such a trendsetter and just ahead of the game. But with his hair, it was always something different with his hair. And this was an iconic haircut. And we're still doing versions of it to this day. This is the wolf cut, but shorter.
Do you realize that to this day, the mullet is such an insane haircut that it actually has an entire competition, like a world Olympics of who can have the best mullet.
Yeah.
And some young boy just won this 2024 year competition. So some like 13-year-old or 15-year-old or something like so. Some like young boy just won the world competition of the most majestic mullet competition or whatever they call the thing.
For me, that's just way too many rednecks in one room. Now, this last picture, Eddie, I'm gonna need you to really walk me through it, okay?
Don't you dare. I don't know what's coming. Oh, you son.
Don't swear.
Hold on. Is that who I think that is?
That's beauty school, bro. That's what that is. That's beauty school.
What?
My eyes start focusing. I was like, I know that.
That's the 90s. That's a Kodak moment right there. This was before HD and resolution. That wasn't even like 640p or whatever. No, this was straight up a Kodak moment. And you had to go to Walgreens and get it developed. And
You're
then it was
before your
standing.
time because the entire beach looks like you now. Like the entire surfing community. Like you don't surf if you don't look like that, yo.
This picture, bro, this picture is 25 years old now, 21 to 25. Like this picture is over 20 years old, this picture.
Wow.
All I'm gonna say is, remember last week when you were poking me and you had me ranting and raving for an hour?
I'll tell you what,
You're welcome.
it's hilarious because this picture comes up and people look at it and they're like, you really must be a vampire, huh? You ain't changed. Like you look exactly the same. I'm like, I don't know. It's wild.
Yeah.
You're
It's
welcome.
wild. This is I asked for the frosted highlights at the time, you know, like the little boy band frosted highlights at the time.
Yeah.
And one of the, you know, one of my buddies, like one of my co-students in class, she misunderstood and did like a partial highlight. Like she only colored half my head. So I look like that Two-Face from the Joker, you know, and it looked goofy as hell. And I was like, nah, just do the whole thing. Forget about it. You know, like it's too late now. And yeah, this picture has haunted me for over 20 years now.
And Michelle just commented that we need a poster size of this picture.
No, Michelle, no, please no.
That says born and raised in Malibu, like at the bottom.
Oh my God.
You're welcome. So
look, I was fashionable back then. Okay, I did things. It's better than this. What do you call this thing? The broccoli heads that the boys are doing nowadays.
Oh, dude, where it's all shaved and then they all want to look like Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, at least I don't got one of them going on, you know.
True.
So I got to give D the right introduction and the preference for, because D is not a hairdresser, but D is one of the most motivational people that you will ever talk to, and D's story is absolutely inspiring. I met D about 6.5 years ago, 4:00 in the morning, working out, and I'm watching this guy do some amazing stuff. Eddie, do you have any of the videos that D sent you? You don't.
Oh, I didn't know we were gonna put them up. So
anyway, you know what? You can look D up on Facebook, and it's D Anthony Evans, and he's got videos up of some of the stuff that he does. What he was doing back in the gym. Now he works out beachside. Dog. Anyway, I'm watching this guy do these incredible things. I had just had a stroke and I was trying to get healthy. And D would come in same time every morning, and I'd see him carrying in this jug, right? This is how we started talking. And there's this brown liquid in the jug. Now, I take like a pre-workout or something before I work out. So I walk up to him and I'm like, dude, what's in the jug? And what did you say, D? It's my mud.
It's my mud. This is my mud. And you looked at me like I was crazy. I think you might have said, I think one of your one-liners where it looked like the drainage drip off or some shit, something from the drainage. Like whatever the term is for the water that collects after it rains. That's
but what's in there?
So turmeric, Maya nut, which is a prebiotic, and so the whole method is to detox daily and to never let anything sit in my gut for more than 8 hours.
Right.
And that's on me and the environment I create before the food hits it.
Right.
And so that I just use it. It is a staple in this story, but it's also the first thing that I have, new patients or people who are interested in detoxing or stopping whatever the progression is in whatever disease they're fighting. I mean, because inflammation is the foundation of all pain, all disease. Everything starts with being inflamed. And what turmeric does, it has high curcumin levels in it. And what that does is it's a very, very powerful ancient anti-inflammatory that you can never go wrong. Like your body's never going to be, stop drinking the turmeric. It's never going to tell you that.
Right.
Your teeth are just going to get whiter after they turn orange, but you'll grow nails. Your hair is just perpetually leaving you in a state of detox is the methodology behind drinking the mud.
You are the guy who turned me on to turmeric, and I take turmeric every day. But now let's back all the way up, and give us your story and everything that goes on with you, D.
Yeah, so I'm it's an amazing day to be alive, and Johnny, I appreciate you having me on the show. Eddie, it's nice to meet you. And it's something about the lifetime gym experience because it has put me in a place where I've attracted and connected with people that I kind of needed and who needed me. And Johnny, like, I earned days in my belief system by assisting people. What you didn't tell people about how you told me, D, I'm going to walk up these stairs. He was doing the elevator every day. Mm-hmm. And we made an agreement. We're going to figure this out and you're going to walk up them stairs. And it took Johnny a minute, but he was listening and he started doing some things that I had suggested and some things that he was working with another person on. And before you know it, Johnny was walking up. I think we might have cried, bro. Yeah, that day when you were like, D, I walked up the fucking I walked up the stairs. And it was just, it was very powerful. And it was in that moment, that me and Johnny kind of became brothers because he couldn't walk up the stairs for a good 6 months.
Right.
Like he had to stand. He'd be like, I see you upstairs. And he's standing in front of the elevator. Legit. And he worked his way up to walk up the stairs. But the only reason Johnny even entertained what I was saying is because of my situation. And I was born with neurofibromatosis, which is a rare neurological disease that causes tumors to spontaneously form on the end of your peripheral nerves. This is the worst. You talk about pain. The pain associated with NF is equivalent to putting tinfoil on an old filling. That that pain right there, or popping your elbow and it reverberating that's everywhere. Like from your head to your toe, every single day without notice. Everything is sensitive. And it just sets you up. If you don't have a mom, I'm going to give it to my mom. If you don't have a mother like I had who was sick, and I didn't know how sick she was, so she knew how to be strong and knew how to deal with illness and I didn't see that then, but I zoom out and I talk about my life and it was like, wow, she set me up to be able to live with this as she was living with a terminal disease the whole time I know her. She died at 16. And so my NF journey was about hiding it as she was sick. And she was like, look, we both can't have an outward family appearance that we're the sick family. She's like, I know you're going through what you're going through, but just try to keep it to yourself, because everybody was concerned about her, and my grandmother, she didn't want to stress her out. So I went through the first 35 years of my life hiding my illness. I'm the tumor kid. Like, in tumor kids, nobody really sits with you at lunch. You don't really date anybody. You're always getting teased. But my mom had this genius in her where she made me think that it was something wrong with everybody else. I swear, this woman was amazing. I'm the tumor boy. And I love this woman so much that she was like, look, Dewan, they're just jealous. These are your superpowers. And I believed her. Like I was suicidal. I was suicidal at 9 years old. Like I got into my first fight at the water table because of this tumor right here. I'm doing the boat, and the bully kid, what's that? And I switch my hand, and of course he's the bully kid. Like, nah, your hand. And I'm like, man, if this dude does not leave me alone, I'm gonna hit him. I'm in nursery school. I remember this like it was yesterday. This is how traumatizing being an NF patient is. And I'm trying to just paint this picture real quick before I go into the full depth of it. Because even getting to 18, like most children want to harm themselves, especially now. Like, I didn't have Google, but if you Google NF right now, and you're 16, 15, 14, 11, there's nothing to look forward to. You've watched for 100 years. There's nothing for us. There's nobody actively. There's just too much research that didn't happen that you as a patient have access to. And if you have any type of intelligence, you're going to be like, man, they don't really care about us. Like there's nothing but cancer, operations, and pain and medicine. That's legit what you see you have to look forward to as you get older in the progression of this disease. So when I was 9 years old, my doctor told me and my mother that I'd be blind by 18 because I have cafe au lait spots. In the back of my eyes, there's black spots, and they're known as cafe au lait spots, and they're usually the pre-tumor. And so there are a lot of kids who their whole eyes tumored out, and it's connected to your brain. They really don't know what it is. Like, we're mutants. The official definition is chromosome 17, something we can't explain happens, and it spontaneously mutates. Isn't that the Incredible Hulk and Spider-Man's little?
You was an X-Men. Yeah, right. You're one of them Marvel comic dudes.
We don't know what happened, but something in chromosome, like I'm living that legit. But what I figured out over the course of my life, that it was my superpower, because it has taken me around the world 5 or 6 times. It's people from every point of the universe who have found my story through the media that I've done, who have reached out in languages I have to translate it. But it's all about help. It's all about, I looked at you, I was going to give up, I was going to kill myself today, and I bumped into one of your crazy videos on social media, and I was like, man, if D can do it, and you have the most extreme story. So I'm opening this up with, I'm not a victim of this disease. Like, my creator gave this to me because nobody would believe that the creator that I believe in is real. When you go through my life and the disease and the 11 back-to-back 9-hour operations that I've had, 385 tumors removed from my body, the biggest one, 2 pounds, 7 centimeters, malignant, flush on my spine. But I did 200 pull-ups before I got on this call. In the 13th year of being given 6 months to live, 13 years ago. You understand why you're here. And so, yeah, it's a crazy life. I have to do a lot more than most human beings to get through my day. But I know it's part of my plan for my life. Like, I'm not here for me. Like, some of us were not put here for us. Some of us were put here to give everybody else a shot. And it's up to us to understand that. And I got to give it back to my mom, as she was diagnosed with AIDS she was the leader on the PTA board that founded the blood drive, only to find out that she was HIV positive. And it wasn't because she was a drug addict or anything. She had a partner that was, doing multiple things. We'll just leave it at that. But it was nothing that she did. But instead of her becoming a victim internally, she knew she had me, and she turned to activism. And that's kind of what you see from me. Is just my mother, like the only person that I've ever looked up to I watched her dying, trying to save a generation and every single body that she knew in 93 when you said if you said you had AIDS, I don't care if your family, people are scared. They backed up off of us. I'm talking about didn't come to the house, didn't call, because they didn't know.
Right.
You was quarantined before quarantine was a thing, you know?
Right.
That's right.
Yes.
I know what you're talking about. We all grew up in that generation. Ain't it interesting how growing up in the salon environment and being around women all my life, you know, the perspective of having a male figure, how they talk about how that's important, and it is. But when that male figure doesn't exist, especially mothers, when women step up in that nurturing role, and then they got to step up further in that inspirational role, man, I tell you, it is fascinating. It is absolutely fascinating. The mental capacity, the drive, the motivation, the perspective, and the power that mothers, you know, come up to, and how they're able to inspire, especially single moms. How they've been done, they've been done wrong by their partner under whatever circumstance or unfortunate reasons, you know, and they're able to raise us men to be men, but still be mindful of women simultaneously. It is so inspiring. That perspective is so insane, you know. And my question to you then is, going through your day to day, how much mental perspective does it take? Because it's so easy. Like how I mean, everybody has their own opinions, but is it not? Do you think it's too easy to fall into that victim role, and it requires more mental power in perspective to not play the victim, but to use that as a motivation to move forward?
Yeah, the mindset is number one.
Mindset's number one.
It's number one. Like, it's the only thing that matters. And when I'm mentoring people, I don't let them get clingy on me, or because you have to build that internal strength. Because whoever's you're helping you or whatever, I promise you, when the emergency happens, they're going to be busy. They're going to be busy. And then you're going to be looking for false hope that's not going to come. And it's in that window of time a lot of people slip through the cracks. So I can't afford to make any mistakes in my situation when I wake up every single day with one foot on a banana peel and one in the grave, like literally. And so that's a mindset. Think before you act, think before you speak, but always understand, D, that no matter how bad the adverse appearance may appear, you woke up and somebody didn't. That's the only thing, the seed that every human being needs to plant to build the strength but it is a seed and it needs to be nurtured, and you have to practice and you have to talk to yourself. But when it really means something to you that I woke up and it is a fact, somebody or something somewhere didn't, that is a blessing. That is an amazing day on its face. And if you can do that every single morning, everything after that is a bonus. Like, there are no bad days. You woke up and somebody didn't. And it's honing on your shitty days, it's honing in on that until the turbulence subsides and you come back balanced. I'm saying in every belief system, they talk about we swing back and forth. And then every religion talks about, well, if you do this and do that, you can find the center. And that they all say the same, finding the center. But the center of what? There's good and there's bad in every day. There's a pendulum, and it's becoming harmony with the turbulence. My disease is a wave. Now, am I going to be firm and think that I can beat a wave in the ocean? No, I'm not. Am I going to try to fight the wave? No, I'm not. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to build a big surfboard and I'm gonna hop on top of that wave.
That's awesome, man.
And
That's
become
awesome.
one with it. No matter how turbulent it is, I'm on top of it and it's carrying me. I'm not going against it. I'm not trying to be better than it. We're one. And that's
So you're in harmony. That's that harmony you're talking about.
Yes, the harmony.
Because so many people try to fight so hard.
Yes. That you can't beat. We're not here to beat things. Okay. We're here to harmonize with whatever comes to us, because whatever comes to us came from something that we can't control. No matter what your belief system is, you did not teach yourself how to walk. Nobody can look me in my eye, no matter what you believe, and be like, you taught yourself how to walk. You didn't. You also don't tell your feet, hey, feet, let's walk to the kitchen. And then they start walking. There is something that we can't explain that allows that to happen. So you don't believe in nothing. Believe that whatever that force is, that's your master. Wherever you can walk without telling yourself to walk. You think it in your, do you even think it? You just start, and you don't say, hey, legs, let's go walk to the bath. Take me to the bathroom. Why don't you have
I'm going to try that, actually. It might work out better for my situation because I fall down a lot. I've been into things a lot.
He does fall.
Maybe I need to be talking to myself.
I got one of my biggest moments with you, D, is when you told me your story and you made a statement to me, and I'm not going to do it justice, but about the agreement that you have with your disease.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you run on that because you say it's so much better than I could ever.
It is. So, my cancer is not gone. Like the whole you can kill cancer thing, that's not true, because scientifically we all have cancer cells. We were all born with them. It's the congregation that creates the turbulence. It's not the cancer cells. Like whatever created us, they're a part of our makeup. It's the things that make them congregate. So with that mindset, I don't have a desire to kill or cure it. I've made an agreement with it that I'm not going to put anything in my body that irritates it or it doesn't like, and it's going to allow me to look like this and thrive and live my life, understanding that if I step outside of that behavior, don't be surprised when the turbulence comes back. Now, in year 1, I probably sounded crazy to most people that left me. Year 2, maybe. Year 3, they start leaning in. Year 4, what you were saying about the food? Year 5, hey, can I get? And then year 6, you're technically a survivor, even though I refer to myself as a thriver, because people plugged into life support are surviving. My mindset is to try to be in a better health situation than you were before you got sick. See, that's something to affirm. That's something to aspire to, like a goal in sickness. Like, I messed up, but let's see if I can turn this boat around, and get in a better position than I was before. And then you got work to do. That keeps your mind busy positively. Like, how can I be more healthy? That keeps you busy, because this thing is going to be your friend or your enemy. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line.
True. I got a question for you then.
Yes, sir.
The acceptance is such a hard thing. Like you look around the world today and you look day to day, and whether it's your personal life with your own family and inner circle, whether you go outside and you're just walking around your neighborhood, damn it, if you put the TV on, the whole world looks like it's going to hell in a handbasket. Acceptance is such a hard thing. But everything you're talking about is all about acceptance first with yourself, which then naturally puts you in such a mindset to accept everything else in life. That's where you truly start enjoying.
Yes.
What advice can you give people about, like, do you agree with what my perspective is? And if you do, what advice can you give people to say, like, this is what it takes to have that?
So, man, and see, this is this is sticky because most people, this is when they turn off. If you're not really ready to change, this is when they walk out the room, because it requires acceptance is accountability. And so the biggest part of this is, what part did I play in where I'm at right now? When you get diagnosed, you think it's natural to be the victim. But I can point to the life. You show me what you did the last 7 years, lifestyle, behavior-wise, and write it down. I can point to why the turbulence is where it's at in your life today. And see that right there, until you're able to do that, until I was able to be like, I ate 10,000 calories a day, 40 pounds of chicken breast a month, whey and casein shakes 3 times a day, all in an effort to be the biggest, strongest, healthiest person on the planet. The information was wrong. And that's on me. I should have vetted it better, because at the end of the day, I did that behavior for 17 years, and it turned my I'm already predisposed to I have tumors that are benign that we've been waiting my whole life to convert, and then I throw gasoline and help them convert by the way of acidity. When you have 40 pounds of, and the reason we know is my teacher, when I first met him, he kept hitting me. I said, man, why you keep hitting me in my gut, man? I wanted to, my first inclination was to hit him back. But I can't hit, He's like, that's where the problem is. I didn't understand what he was saying until I lost 115 pounds in 7 months. But that required me opening my brain up to him saying it was you. Like, I didn't want to hear it. What you mean it was you? See these arms? He like, you don't see your cancer? You got muscles? You know what I'm saying? You don't see that? And he had a point. And it wasn't until I looked in that mirror and I had to own it. So, Eddie, you have to own it. Whoever wants to change, until you can look in that mirror and take responsibility for the part that you play, the reasoning mind, your third dimensional mind will always give you a reason of why and we're good at that. Hey, this thing right here, I tell you that it was everything but you, every day, 24 hours a day.
Man, that person looking back at you in the mirror is the worst person in the world, let me tell you. Yeah, I hate that person in the mirror looking back at me every time I look in the mirror.
I'm glad you brought up your teacher, because I want to touch on David Choi, because he is an amazing guy, and the difference and what he did for you and everything that I've read that you've written about him. Go ahead, D, because David Choi really game changer for you, isn't he?
Yes, absolute game changer. And I got to be honest, I didn't want to meet him. I mean, chicken was like crack, cocaine. Like, chicken is coke, sugar. These things have a body addiction to us that they don't talk about this. I lived it. So when you've been eating, you're a power lifter and you're acclimated to a certain lifestyle, diet, and then on the drop of a dime, no notice, you have to stop cold turkey. Oh, man.
Cold chicken.
Yeah, even cold chicken.
Listen, that man made it very clear to me after I dodged him our first 2 appointments. Like, this is how sick I was. He's big in Lifetime, Vernon Hills. I was big in Schaumburg and everywhere else. And so we got connected by a mutual friend, an older guy named Ray Atkins. And he was like, D, I heard you're sick. I'd like you to talk to my brother, Chef Choi. And I said, that's the vegan guy. And he was like, yeah, you need. I said, man, Ray, I eat salad. He said, D, this is not a game. I said, Ray, I can't do the vegan, the plants. And nah. He's like, D, can you just talk to him? and he stayed in my ass like about talking to him. And so I was dodging Ray for about a week. I said, you can't come in the gym looking like it's Ray around. I was how crazy the chicken had me. So I called Dave and I'm like, I want to meet you, Ray. I was talking just like this. When can we set something up? And this is what I did. I said, I'm going to go to the opposite address that I told him. Be like, oh, I thought it was Schaumburg. No, I'm being totally honest. So I make the appointment at Schaumburg and go to Vernon Hills, his gym. And he'd be like, where are you at? I said, I'm in Vernon Hills. What do you mean you're in Vernon Hills? I said, oh, man, I thought that. So that worked the first time. I'm giving you the honest truth. I did it the second time. The third time, I'm sitting in the cafe like, he going to go over there. I'm not with it. And then there was hi, Chef Dave. How are you? He said, I'm not going to play with you. I don't chase people to help me. He didn't cuss me out, but he was very firm. He said, look, do you want my help or not? I said, I do. He said, write your address down and I'll be at your house on Sunday, and stormed off.
Oh,
I
wow.
said, you really did it this time, Mr. D. And so he came to my house that Sunday. I was still in shame. like you just got caught by the guy that's trying to help you and you're trying to run from his help, and he caught you red-handed. So he's in my house. He's like, I'm not answering any questions. Here's 7 days worth of food, one sweet out of the sweet box. Read the first 2 chapters of the China study. I'll see you in a week. I said to myself, I can't say nothing here. I got mad. You're going to walk in my house, tell me don't say nothing, eat this, and I'll see you in a week. And so I bit my tongue. I said, all right, I'll see you in a week. And what's this stupid book? And I'm reading. And T. Colin Campbell, the scientist from Cornell University, grew up on a farm, and his dad had contracted colon cancer. And him, as a scientist and a nerd in this study, is like, we grow all the food. There's no pesticide. The meat they eat is the best. Like he's traced it back. Like, this is impossible. How does my dad? Like, he doesn't do anything. He eats dairy. We milk the cows. Like, we have a farm. We're farmers. And so it's blowing his mind as a scientist that how does my dad have cancer? So in the Petri dish, he's studying casein and started administering casein to a rat with a tumor and start regulating the growth. And he said, when I saw the physical reaction in the Petri dish, it just took me over. And I did start going through cognitive dissonance, which is when you're taught something and you believe it your whole life.
It blows up your whole mind, yeah.
But then the proof that totally cut the factual proof.
Wow.
That totally contradicts what you have fixed in your head. And then that struggle you have based on what you were taught and then what's true. And he said, he said, as much as I tried to ignore it, I couldn't ignore the evidence. And the evidence was clear that the acidity created by leftover meat and dairy in the body act as an accelerant to cancer congregation. Now, for those of you who don't know what the China study is, it's a study, 10,000 studies. It's a comprehensive study of 10,000 studies. And they have brought in all the scientists in the world. Why are the affluent families' kids getting sick with cancer? And the poor people, they're fine. They don't get the cancer rate in the privileged community is higher. And it was the same thing that was found. They looked at both lifestyle behaviors. The poor people could only afford what they grew. They couldn't afford steak in every meal, chicken in every meal. That costs money. They didn't have that. They had beans, legumes, vegetables, what you could grow, and had no cancer, anything. Meanwhile, on the affluent side, the king's people, everybody with money was sick. And it's because they had access to dairy, yeast, sugar, everything that we call the cornerstone of being a happy eater. And he said, you know, because it was my dad, I couldn't ignore this. And I had to tell him to stop eating this. He said, what? He said, I had to save him, but it's not with any medicine. It's with the behavior that he loves to do. And that right there, when I read that, I started crying. I said, it was you, dumbass. And my life, just the last 17 years, dude, how many chickens did you eat, bro? How many? And then you don't chew? Like you just, like in everything that he wrote, and I read it. And so by the time that week came past, because now I done read half the book. I was supposed to be, because it pulled me in. Once you see it's you want to know how bad of the damage you did. So I'm digging. I was like, is there anything else? And I'm looking. And then he comes back. And he's like, what's wrong? I said, I just want to apologize. Because I got to the part where T. Colin Campbell was kind of going through his cognitive dissonance about his dad being diagnosed and him seeing in his research that it's lifestyle behavior, and then having to own that because no matter what his peers said, and they called him crazy for 10 years. Like my teacher, the reason he's so well known in the industry, nobody would screen Forks Over Knives, which is T. Colin Campbell's, like, you know, video or movie version of the China study. Basically, it just goes over everything that was in the book, but nobody was screening. Nobody wanted to hear about that. My teacher allowed him to come to Chicago and did the only screening in the country. My teacher was the only person that allowed this type of rhetoric, because it was rhetoric then. Like, you're nuts. Like, dairy is why we're strong, when it's the facts. They don't support that. They just don't support dairy is, and this is what it is. It's not, does it work or not? Okay. Once again, it's on us as human beings. And what he told me, he said, D, can you look me in the eyes and tell me you've chewed everything that you've eaten since you began eating 20 to 50 times? I said, nah. Matter of fact, I probably inhaled most of it the first, like a straw inhale, like, and then I thought I had teeth down there. But no, I don't really chew. It is kind of a race. He said, this is the typical American behavior. He said, from your mouth to your rectum, you have 30 feet of gastrointestinal tract that's compressed into 6 inches. He said, you say you believe in a higher power. I said, yeah. Do you believe your higher power makes mistakes? No, it's perfect. There ain't no mistakes. Okay, so do you believe that your higher power with this high intellect created a digestive system that mimics a garden hose and then compresses it and makes things even harder to travel that are not in a liquefied type of consistency? He said, do you think it, and he make you feel like you're this big. When he make you feel, I don't care how smart you are, you like get like this. I said, no, yeah, clumpy things. He said, so this is the issue. There's shit. And he cussed. I said, what do you mean there's shit? He said, you're full of shit.
Literally. You were literally full of
shit. He said, and the shit is promoting your disease.
Wow.
I said, what you mean shit? He said, look, The body has like 8 hours to get rid of whatever it is, and then it becomes part of your body. He says, so listen, if the food never got to the end of the 30-foot hose, or you think it evaporated, D? I said, I never thought about it. He said, what it does is it becomes a part of your GI, and then it starts to infiltrate your blood. And then it moves on the other side of your skeletal where we can't reach. And it becomes known as the artery fat or the visceral fat. The fat that the only way you can remove it is by not depositing what got it there in the first place, and then wait for the body to kind of go into ketosis and go into crackhead mode and look for it and then go eat it itself. He said, but that requires like 6 weeks of fasting to see, for your body to tweak out. And what it was, what the whole process reminded me of that Chef Choi taught me was an episode of, what is it called when they drop you in the wilderness and then they show
Survivor thing?
What is it called?
Survivor.
No, it's a new version of it, not Survivor.
Man versus the
Drop
Wild?
you off, and then they go over your BMI. And if you couldn't hunt and find the same calorie content, they'll show the guy, and he's ripped up, but it's from starvation, not because he's been training, but basically what Wild and Afraid, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that show right there shows what the body goes through in this process. Some people call it starvation shock, rather, meaning that at 6 to 8 weeks, the body goes and starts looking for whatever you have been feeding it, and it by way of your fat. And then once it eats all of your fat and survives, it moves onto your muscle, and then you die. That's how you starve to death. So in the process he taught me was a baking soda cleanse that kind of flushes, the gut and loosens things up. And then you take some turmeric before bed, as it's only about loosening what never left. And this is about bringing the body back into harmony. So my lifestyle behavior gave me a bunch of excess old food that simply had not made it through. This guy showed me how to drink certain things that create an environment in my GI that lubricates it, and every single day a little more comes out, a little more loosens up. When you drink the turmeric before bed because you toss and turn for 8 hours, and you know what's happening while you're tossing and turning? The turmeric is slushing up and down your GI. Loose, it's working for you. And then when you sit up in the morning, you have the best dump. It's fluorescent, but you things are moving. Things are made. You get up and you can hit you. You're like, wow, this is working. And when I saw my first 2 abs, man, you got to understand. When you're at school by the old school and they be like, man, just eat all the calories you want and then put the bag on and get on the treadmill and fall off. Man, that's the biggest bullshit I ever heard. That sent me off. The garbage, just eat all the calories and then hop on the treadmill and go in the sauna. 17 years, I didn't have 1 ab. I was stronger than an ox, but I was pregnant. I was pregnant. I looked good from the side and the back, and then I turned around, I was swole, but there was something in there. And what this process did was simply get the shit out of my body. And I have to say it like that because it'll give people a visual. If you can do this, that means there's something in there that's causing disease and acidity. That's the whole thing. It makes you acidic. When people talk about going alkalinic, you can't pour water on doo-doo and think you're going to change the chemistry of your body. I don't care how many alkaline drinks you do. You have to do the other component. And that's the biggest thing he gave me, because in January of 2012, they gave me 6 months to live. They told me that we need to do at least 7 operations before December. They were trying to get me to give up and go to hospice. And I was like, whatever we need to do. Johnny was around.
Yeah.
And I had 7 back-to-back operations from January to November.
Wow.
220 tumors removed in that time period. And then they let me go home for Christmas. And then I was supposed to get right back into it January of 2013. Before I left in November of 2012, my doctor was very concerned as there were spots on my lungs. Met Dave in December during the break. This is when I was tried to run from him, and I did what I thought was stupid, drinking stupid turmeric and baking soda. And then I got into that pre-op appointment that if you do surgery, you do a pre-op before the actual op. And the doctor's like, they do the scans again to make sure everything's like it was. And he said, man, D, something very interesting is going on. I'd like to postpone your surgery. I said, you just told me it was an emergency and I done trained like I'm going to fight Mike Tyson and you're telling me we're not going to do it. He's like, D, just relax. This is positive, but I just want to monitor. Let's put it off a month. I said, a month? He said, a month. I said, okay. So I get back to life and get ready. Here we go. February 2013. Come back in, ready to do this surgery because there was definitely something on my lungs in November. And in any cancer journey, everybody knows that's Mets. Like once it hits your lungs, it's over. Shit, there's nothing to talk about. And yet, man, I still want to monitor and cancel the second. I said, we had 60 days. It was an emergency. And you acting like, we can go play golf and just relax me. And I'm like, okay. March. He tries to do the same thing. This time I lean in the chair. I said, look, Doc, you need to show me my slides. I'm freaking out. You're not telling me anything. Shows me slides with nothing there.
Nothing
there.
And this whole time you've been doing this, the diet, like what the chef they put you on.
Yes.
He's to preface this, D is a completely plant-based athlete.
Yes. No meat, no dairy, no yeast, no sugar for 13 years.
That's wild.
Yes.
And right before you met Dave Choi, though, and you correct me if I'm wrong, they gave you 6 months?
Yes.
6 months to live.
6 months to live.
And how many years ago was that, D? Just to drive it home.
It will be 13 years, January 4th. 13. I'm in my 3 years into my second decade.
That's
with bone cancer. It's a sarcoma. So for those of you watching, Google MPNST. That's malignant peripheral neurological sheath tumor. Only affects probably maybe 100, 200,000 people lifetime. Very rare. And everybody else that's surviving is an amputee.
So
amputee.
Yeah.
You don't live with this. You don't thrive. You don't do nothing with bone cancer, yo.
And just
to put over here an athlete.
Yeah. To put this in perspective just for you. Before D took his gorgeous wife and ran away to Hawaii, one of the last times I saw you, what did you deadlift? That was 500 and what?
It was 560, I think.
What?
Deadlifted.
Yeah.
560 on a completely plant-based diet.
Yes.
And let alone, and you have some. We didn't prepare the videos, D, and I apologize. That's but we're gonna have D back, and we're gonna play some video of what D does. He works out a lot with only his body weight, and the way this man, it will blow your mind that everything that this guy goes through every day, and he's up before the sun's up. You go on his Facebook page, you see it. He's up. He's working out. He's taking care of his body. And what really woke me up was D's mindset, because every freaking morning, see this guy that we're talking to every day. This is every morning with this guy. 4 o'clock in the morning. This is the energy level. That's a mindset. That's it. That you D makes up his mind. You know,
That's a
and
powerful mindset.
that's what really impacted me the most, because when I met D, I was going through some serious life changes. Besides physically, you know, and being sick, I was also questioning everything that I was doing. And my motivation every morning when I get up before I go to the gym is I was thinking, I always say this, and I've told you this before, D, I go, fuck. I go, D gets up every morning and he works out. And I go right to Facebook to see what he's posted. And I went, you know what? If what he's dealing with, he can get his butt out of bed, my butt better be in the freaking gym. You know, I did the cleanse. I did the baking soda cleanse. It made a world of difference. The baking soda cleanse actually got me off of a blood pressure medicine.
Yes.
You know, and we could probably talk to D for another hour and a half,
Yes.
you know, because he's such a engaging dude. Everybody watching, I encourage you to check him out on Facebook, D Anthony Evans. Reach out to him. He's he gives like crazy. I wish we had more time to really go deeper into everything and show some videos. I think we should have D back sometime soon to
I would
finish
love
up.
it if you have an opportunity to come back on with us, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I'm doing a documentary, and I told Johnny what my aspirations were, but now I've made a decision. You guys are going to be a part of it.
We got you. We got you.
Yeah, we definitely. I've partnered with Larry Namer, most notably, you know, responsible for Kim Kardashian, Howard Stern, and Talk Soup, and the Entertainment Network. And his son had a brain tumor. Like, people think that our relationship is based on the business, when really we have a tumor connection, as he had a son 20 years ago who had a brain tumor, and there was rare, like my situation, and they recommended hospice, as there was nothing out at the time that could fix him except this experimental stem cell situation. And so why I resonated with him so much is that my claim to fame is the endocannabinoid system, and CB1 and CB2, and how versed I am in learning about that system, so I wouldn't have to be on opiates. Like, I'm supposed to be on Norco, Percocet, Oxycontin, Neurontin, Celexa, and Rimron 3 times a day forever.
What are you, like the next season of Breaking Bad?
Right. Like, literally, that's supposed to be my life. But through some research and a very amazing friend who said, man, you might want to check this guy out online. And I just took what Rick Simpson had did. He had little skin cancer. So I have something very serious, but it gave me the foundation to start this research 10 years ago. And I've just created several formulas topically.
Yeah.
I forgot Johnny. Johnny wasn't a customer. I was just giving it away. Hey, Johnny, try this.
Yeah. He gave me this tincture that helped me, because my knees are so bad, that helped me sleep. And then he gave me this cream that I actually put on my knees before I work out, and it is a different, it's D introduced all that to me. Now, D, what's your company?
My company is Cherie Inspires, and it was named after my mother. And I'm starting. I have Cherie Inspires and D Anthony Inspires. Cherie Inspires is a CBD based wellness company where we have bath bombs, pain solves, wellness drops, sleep drops, pumpkin mask, things like that. And then what I'm working on right now is what I gave Johnny, which is totally legal, but we didn't exchange money. So I was just sharing as a patient with another patient. But I'm working toward, bringing that to market. And that's on the D. Anthony Inspired side, and kind of Larry and my other partner, Bruce, who kind of runs DKCNY, which is the biggest publicist firm in America. And them together, we're going to scale out because I have a lot of ties to South Africa, and I have a chapter of my nonprofit over there. And ultimately, while I'm in business, I'm on a legacy. Like, I hope I live 10 more years, but I put 13 years together past 6 months. If I died tomorrow, it's been great. But it's all about crystallizing the work that my mom did, and then creating these autonomous mechanisms that are provide access to poor people and people who can't afford. Like my CBD, 1 ounce is $140 because it's premium, because it's gone through 150-point contaminant tests. Like, we've gone above and beyond so we can be carried in hospitals, so we can be covered by Medicaid and Medicare, and be given to the most vulnerable people. Like, I took the extra steps, but this is all, the money is just going to be there because of what we're working in. But half of that money is so I can give it away. Like, because I believe that you get what you give. And this is a merit-based experience we're living in, especially if you're 30, 40, 50. My creator believes we know better. If you know better, you can do better. And if you don't, you're playing with the karmic side of reality. But if you get up every day, not trying to be perfect, but just trying to be better than you were the next day, and you try to help your neighbor instead of shit on your neighbor, you're going to get another day. A day. I do this so I can earn a day. And if you whittle it down to 1 day at a time, every day is your birthday. The last thing I'm going to say is I walk to that mirror every night. I look at it. I say, you know what, self? We did it. We had a great one. I gave you 1,000%. You gave me 1,000%. But hey, if I don't wake up in the morning, it's been great. And then you die. You mentally die. And then when you wake up, I wake up every morning, even in the tears of pain. I'm here. It's my birthday. And when it's your birthday every day, baby, there are no bad days.
I love it.
We're going to end on that because you know what? I don't even think a motivational quote will hold a candle to this guy.
No, that is amazing, man. The day you can look yourself in the mirror and that SOB can look back at you and you can just kind of do the little head nod thing like you're saying, it's a good day. It's your birthday. Ain't nothing going to go wrong. Nothing. Man, there is nothing beating that. There is nothing beating that. That is awesome. We got to get your contact information so we can put it in the description. So when people want to seek you out after watching this, real quick, there'll be a link for them to connect with you because that is absolutely awesome. I'd love to have you back on. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you for having me. This is a great, great platform.
Yeah.
Anybody watching, you got a comment, you got a question, reach out to us. Let us know. We'll get you in contact with D. As always, thank you for watching, and we will catch you next week.
The SFTB podcast was not recorded in front of a live studio audience, so thanks for joining us for today's episode. If our hair topics made you smile, give us a thumbs up. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll read them while waiting for our caller to process. Share this video with your stylists and friends. It helps us make a difference, one strand at a time. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Because your hair deserves all the latest and greatest tips.